So this month, we are kicking off a new series on the power of forgiveness, and it's based on this book, Forgive for Good. And I know we have at least one copy available in the bookstore if you are interested, and also in the e-newsletter. There was a little link. If you order it through Amazon link, we get a little bonus through for Ahava as well. So, we're going to be exploring forgiveness all month. You know, I remember a year or two ago, I gave a talk on forgiveness and was like, oh, this is a whole series. And so not only are we looking at it this month, I'm also going to be leading a workshop on June 22nd, that Sunday after service, where we can practice a little bit more. It's going to be very experiential. It's an opportunity to do some practices together. So I encourage you to mark that on your calendar as well. So we're starting off the journey by talking a little bit about what Dr. Fred Luskin refers to as grievances, and how these grievances get to be what we may say, move in. Move in, right, to our mental home. So I want you now to go on a little imagination journey with me and picture yourself going for a hike up a mountain. Perhaps you have a very visual spot. We have so many beautiful choices here in Kentucky. So you've got your backpack on and you're going for your hike. And every time you start to dwell on or think about something that has hurt you or disappointed you, it is like you reach down and you pick up one of those stones, rocks. Maybe it's a piece of limestone, a piece of granite. And when your thought goes there, you pick it up and you place it in your backpack. You continue hiking. Each and every hurt over your lifetime, whether there be someone's sharp words or a forgotten birthday, maybe it's something a bit heavier, a betrayal, abandonment, an injustice, or perhaps it is a massive boulder, some of the traumas that may have shaped your experience. So at first, you barely notice the weight, right? You're strong, you can carry a certain load. But over time, that backpack begins getting heavier and heavier, and it starts to shape your posture. It slows you down. It exhausts you so much that you can hardly take another step. Getting to the pinnacle, the overlook, is no longer possible because you can no longer move forward, carrying the unresolved grievances. So forgiveness. Forgiveness is the brave, liberating act of setting that backpack down. So how did the stones get in the bag in the first place, right? Dr. Luskin, in his book, explains what he calls the grievance story. And he says there's 3 steps. The first step is if we take something too personally. I don't know about you all, but this is a very common human trait, yes? Something happens, someone gives a look, someone says something. We interpret it through our own lens, and we give it meaning. What did I do? Am I bad? They hate me. Why are they judging me? I'm no good. Whatever that may be. That is the first step in creating that grievance. Then the second one is then that we blame someone else for how we feel. Right? How dare they? They did this and that and the other, and now I feel blah, blah, blah. That bag's getting heavier. And then the third step in creating what he calls a grievance is we begin to rehearse and retell the story of what happened over and over again. And that's how those stones get in that bag. I loved in the reading that one simple idea of what if you were to spend as much time contemplating the good in your life as you do the pain. So when you think about a painful situation, more than you are thinking about all the good in your life, it has an impact, right? It gets heavier and heavier. And when you think about the painful situation, you may even become physically uncomfortable, or these thoughts, because we are one whole body system, mind, body, spirit, these thoughts over and over begin then to create a feeling or emotion, which then can become a mood. And then those feelings have an impact on our physical experience. Everything is connected. So do you think about the situation with the same repetitive thoughts? Do you find yourself telling the story about what happened over and over in your mind? And here's the thing, we don't just carry our grievances, we cling to them. Anyone else notice that? They can start to become part of our identity so much that we embrace them, those big boulders, and we cling to them because we can't even imagine, and we've forgotten who we are without them. But I guarantee you, who you are without them is so much more alive and free. We start to categorize and organize and refine the stories to where it's almost like one of our closest friends could begin to verbatim say what our stories are. That is, if we have repeated them over and over. And then we start to compare them with other people's grievances or stones, right? We can look and say, oh, but see, that person's backpack's even heavier than mine. Or, how come they don't have any stones in their bag? Comparison is the thief of our joy. We only have our own experience that we are able to have control over and have influence over, and to take the opportunity to harvest the learning and allow those grievances to have space to transform, so that we can know our own strength and power, that we are greater than anything that has ever occurred in our lives. But the real question is, how long are you willing to carry something that's been hurting you? And what's the cost? Because see, the grievance, it isn't neutral. Holding on to the pain, it hurts us. And it takes energy to cling and to stay angry and to hold that story alive. Like we talked about last month with Brene Brown's book, we can become armored based on our stories and grievances, and armored up so much that we are not actually experiencing the fullness of life. So the invitation is through forgiveness, not as a just simple letting go, but as a transformative healing power. We can learn from it and have that strong back, yet soft front, to begin to embrace vulnerability and love once again, but stay rooted in our strength and grounded in who we know we are. Not allowing people to walk all over us or take advantage of us, but what would it be like instead of having to armor up for that, to have a strong back, but stay open to the love and the possibility of something new. It takes effort to keep retelling the painful story. But yet our mind, like if those of you who are familiar with neuroscience, it starts to create those synapses, deep grooves. And the more we tell a story, it becomes familiar, and then it becomes the default. So over time, that painful story is what's the default in our lives. Yet, when we wake up, and this may be the moment right here, right now, we can realize that we have the power to create a new pathway and not let what occurred impact who we are, who we know ourselves to be, and who we are becoming. Yes? Grievances keep us locked in the past, spiritually, emotionally, and often even physically. Studies have shown that people who hold grudges experience more stress, more illness, and more emotional fatigue. One of the things that I love about this book is that he's a doctor and it's based on research. So this isn't spiritual woo-woo, even though I love that. We get to look at how the science and the research is showing how the metaphysical, spiritual woo-woo that we all inherently know and indigenous cultures have known for forever, the research is now proving it, right? The subtitle is A Proven Prescription for Health and Happiness. That's the end game, right? The health and happiness that we all seek. So studies show that people who hold on to grudges experience more stress, more illness, and more emotional fatigue. And we think that we are punishing the other person by carrying that weight, but really, we've probably all heard this idea, unforgiveness is like drinking poison and expecting the other to get sick. The longer we carry those stones, the more they shape our experience of life. We start to cling to them, and they start to become the worldview in which we experience and see everything. We show up guarded, exhausted, suspicious, bitter, and sometimes we don't even realize that we have let that hurt define us. Dr. Ernest Holmes, who's the founder of the Science of Mind teaching, he teaches the power of the divine in each and every now moment is always present, right? We can always choose again, begin again. This moment, this now moment, has never existed before. And in this moment, we can choose a new thought and focus on that which we desire, which will then begin to shape the next moment. Holmes wrote, "The past is gone, and the future has yet arrived. Today is the only time we have." So when we hold on to old grievances, we stay tethered to a time that no longer exists, except in the illusion of our mind, yes? And we block the flow of good that is available right here, right now. Holmes reminds us that we are not bound by anything except our belief. And here's the thing, our belief can be changed. That's the good news, right? And forgiveness is the spiritual practice and tool in which we change that belief. That belief about ourselves, the story and the meaning that we've made of our life or our situation. Forgiveness is the practice. The pain from the past no longer controls me. And instead, I'm here to affirm that spirit right here, right now, is alive in me, and I am free. Forgiveness opens that channel between us and the divine. It clears the static and the noise, and it returns us to that place that has never been broken, that place of wholeness within. So I want to create a little bit more of a foundation for this month's study. about what forgiveness is and what forgiveness isn't. So forgiveness is not saying that what happened was okay. Forgiveness is not forgetting. It's not excusing. And it's definitely not about the other person deserving it. Forgiveness says, I choose to stop carrying this now. Right? Forgiveness is about us, not the other person or situation or system or political party. Forgiveness is about reclaiming our own power. And what I know is what the world needs right now is more empowered people like those of you in the room willing to do this work and to stand in our truth and to stand for what is possible instead of looking backwards at everything that has occurred, but to keep moving forward in our own personal power. Stop giving our power away to any other person or relationship or system or structure, and to know that we have the power within. Forgiveness is choosing our peace. And it's setting down the heavy stone. Dr. Luskin calls forgiveness a trainable skill. I love this idea, right? Just like we go to the gym and we lift weights, our muscles may be pretty weak at first, but over time and the more we practice, the stronger we get. And the easier those little weights become to where we can start picking up the heavier weights. Just like building our muscles at the gym, we build our forgiveness capacity one intentional moment at a time. And spiritually, forgiveness is the soul's way of saying, I remember who I am. I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become now. Yes, that is the power. So Dr. Luskin shares the story of Sarah. Sarah married someone who she thought was kind and stable, only to discover later that he was deeply dishonest and addicted. Her life began to unravel. She was left scared, broke, trying to raise a child alone, and facing real danger. But after taking a forgiveness course, Sarah began to let go of the resentment, not to condone his behavior, to do her own work, but to reclaim her life. And she says, I was able to make better life choices when I wasn't obsessed with how he had failed me. Ooh. Sarah didn't have to let him off the hook. She had to let herself free. She dropped the stone, and in doing so, she could continue to walk forward with more freedom and peace and love in her heart. So I want to ask you now, what are the stones in your backpack? Maybe it's something more recent, someone who forgot something or let you down this week. Or maybe it's something older, a story that you've told for many years of your life, such that it's become part of your identity. Maybe it's a stone that you inherited. Generational hurt, right? There's a lot more awareness now around this idea of healing from the generational trauma of our ancestors that has been passed down. And how we are in the place of power, if we realize it, to choose again and to let that go and to experience something new. So whether it be something recent, something old, or something inherited, a spiritual trauma or a systemic injustice that lives in your bones or your DNA, I'm not saying to pretend that that didn't happen, but I'm inviting you to stop carrying the pain as your identity or your story. And I know your mind's going, yes, but if I let that go, what if I'm hurt again? Isn't that the fear? Yes, yes. But when we know who we are and we stand in our own power and we love ourselves so much, we can't let that happen again. Because it's not even an energetic match. If we have truly healed that situation, it becomes about walking in the world as the wholeness and the love that we are, right? And we have that strong spine. We've learned the skills of setting boundaries, of noticing the red flags, of saying, okay, I won't do that again. But we don't have to say, I won't do that again because, blah, 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 blah. We're just like, ooh. Or we may even just meet someone and our body is like, eeh. And then we're like, oh, okay. We start to trust in ourselves more and trust our gut to guide us to those that are a vibrational match for the love and the wholeness that we are. So when the ego mind starts to say, yes, but if I let go of the story, I might get hurt again. Let your heart lead the way and say, no, honey, I got you. We got this. Right? So it's not about pretending that the hurt hasn't happened, but it's about stopping carrying that story and the meaning that you have made about yourself based on that story and writing a new story. Because you are so much more than what has happened to you. You are the spirit and soul and life who gets to decide what happens next. Forgiveness is how we make room for the next chapter of who we are becoming. And from a metaphysical perspective, forgiveness is in alignment with truth. It's remembering the I am, the untouched, unbroken wholeness that we are, and trusting in life, that life is for us, not against us. When people fall short, life is for us, not against us. I know who I am. How can I move forward with this information? It's not about pretending something didn't hurt us. It's about choosing not to keep hurting ourselves with it, right? Every time we forgive, we lighten our load. We walk taller, we breathe easier, and we remember that we weren't here to carry it alone. We can lean on each other, this beloved community, to support each other. So I want to end with a little practice. I invite you to close your eyes if you're comfortable. And just imagine that backpack on your back of all the hurts and unresolved grievances. Feel its weight. And now, imagine pulling out a stone. One memory, one name, one feeling at a time. Looking at it, thanking it, because it taught you something. But it's not yours to carry anymore. You can now set it down. Continue to breathe. And you don't have to release every stone today, but just one. Choose one right now. And tomorrow, maybe another. Because each act of forgiveness is a step forward towards freedom. So, beloveds, you are not created to carry the world's pain. We all have enough of our own, right? You are here to shine. You are here to love. You are here to rise. You are here to live freely, fully. So let's set it down, lay down our burdens, and choose peace. And let's choose to forgive for good. Yes? All right, let's take it into prayer. Taking that deep breath, just allowing this healing vibration of this crystal singing bowl and the beautiful music, to open your heart, to create that space for even the tiniest seed of willingness to crack open your heart towards new possibility and freedom. Knowing that right here, right now, there is one life, one presence, one power for good in the universe, that which I call God, spirit, life. And this one life is love, it is wholeness, it is freedom. This one life is moving and expressing in, as, and through all things. It is the very essence and nature of all life. And therefore I know it is who I am. And in this now moment, I speak this word from this place of oneness, claiming and declaring for each and every person, hearing the sound of my voice, feeling the vibration of this prayer, to know that we are free, that the truth sets us free. For when we remember who we are as the love and the expression of the divine, all things are possible. So I claim and declare right here, right now, peace, freedom, and a willingness to let go. So grateful to walk this path together with my beloved community, knowing that healing is happening now. Transformation is happening now. As we let go of our burdens, lay down those grievances, and walk forward with an open heart, strong back, and the imagination of pure possibility. Something great is happening right now. And in this now moment, I choose to let go and to live fully in the possibility of right now, and right now, and right now. I choose peace. I choose freedom. I choose wholeness. And I'm so grateful for the fulfillment of this prayer as I release it now into the action of the law that always says, yes, my beloved, it is done, and it is so. And together we say, and so it is.